good morning, everyone. As some of you may have noticed, I'm a daily coffee drinker. Not today, but usually morning class, coffee, and assignments, coffee. Even when I'm just feeling out of it, coffee. But one day I realized something. I was drinking it more out of habit than actual need. So I started asking myself, is caffeine really helping me? Or is it just helping me survive? And that's when I found an alternative that I previously thought was just wasting time. Naps. See, not a replacement for coffee, but something that works better when you actually need energy. And so let me recap. See, during midterms, I pulled what you might call a classic student survival plan. Stay up all night, live on coffee, and pray that caffeine counts as motivation. But by the third cup of the morning, my brain was lacking. I wasn't able to do work. So halfway through the day, I crashed right in the middle. Just knocked out my head for a second, and boom. There I was 20 minutes later, waking up feeling the clearest I had ever been in hours. So that tiny little nap helped me finish the rest of my work way better than caffeine ever did. So that got me thinking, if one tiny nap could help my exhaustion better than coffee ever did, what does science say? Well, according to Harvard Medical School, caffeine doesn't give us energy. It just blocks adenosine, the chemical that tells our brain it's tired. That's why it feels effective for a bit. But the moment that runs out, the adenosine comes rushing all the way back in, and that leads to the infamous crash, as we all know. But not only that, the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found that caffeine taken even 6 hours before bed can affect your sleep by almost 1 hour. And most people don't even realize it. So caffeine doesn't remove fatigue, it just postpones it, which makes it harder for our recovery later on. And trust me, I felt that 2 a.m. regret when the innocent 3 p.m. coffee comes back for revenge. So if caffeine only hides fatigue and tiredness, what actually restores energy? Well, let's look at what happens if we take a nap. See, NASA's research on pilots shows that a 26-minute nap increased performance by 54% and alertness by 36%. That's not minor. That's almost half our original performance. And similarly, studies from Harvard University show that short naps improve memory, learning, and emotional regulation by clearing out adenosine naturally instead of masking it like caffeine does. So, and according to the journal Heart, people who nap occasionally have better health. They not only feel better, but it decreases your risk of heart disease. So you feel physically healthier. Now, I'm not saying to quit coffee entirely. I know that's impossible for most of us. But I've learned to use coffee intentionally. See, instead of chugging it every moment I can, I use it intentionally. And if my brain feels foggy, I'll just take a short nap. And 9 times out of 10, I don't even need the coffee afterwards. See, but then you might ask, what about the time? I don't have the time in the middle of the day to just take a nap. Well, here's the good news. A good nap only takes 10 to 20 minutes because I get it. As a student, I barely have time for lunch some days. But 10 to 20 minutes, that's less time than we spend doom scrolling. And even major companies like Google or Nike have nap pods in their workplaces. Not because they want people to sleep on the job, but because they know that rested workers perform much better. So if some of the world's most productive workplaces encourage naps, maybe it's time we rethink what being productive actually means. And as someone who still loves coffee to this day, I'm not saying to cut it completely. I know that's impossible, but we can use it intentionally and balance it with real rest. So the next time you hit that afternoon slump, instead of reaching for that third cup of coffee, why don't we just take a 15-minute nap, close our eyes, and just feel so much better for the rest of the day? Thank you.